Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Morgan Oakes and I'm making this video for Winspiration Day. I'm so excited to be a part of this, and my big picture is really around personal and planetary empowerment. And my goal for you today is that after this just 10 to 15 minute video, you're going to be truly empowered with some great takeaways where you can step into your life, where you can up-level a few things, and where you can start really living into that best life that's been waiting for you. So I'm excited that you're here. Stick with me. Let's get through this together. And like I said, I know you're going to have some great takeaways that you're going to be really empowered to move forward in your own life following this. So have you had those situations where you knew exactly what you were supposed to be doing, like where you were supposed to go, who you were supposed to meet with, just that right next step in your life? I know that we all have. I've had those as well. And over the course of a few years, I started having these visions about these next steps I was supposed to take in my life. And they involved traveling to Central America and moving south, starting in Mexico. That was the first vision. I knew that something big would happen in Mexico. That was the second vision. In the third vision, I kept seeing my own death in Panama, which is a little interesting, right? And in the fourth vision, I kept seeing that I would return home early from the trip for my dad's funeral, even though he wasn't sick at the time. So some pretty interesting visuals, some pretty interesting intuitions or visions that I was having, and at the same time they were so real to me, they were so true that I knew that I had to follow through with this. And in doing so, honestly, some of the best transformation, some of the best personal growth for not only me but also my family was able to occur. And so I want to share with you the framework that came together kind of through this process and really over the last 10 to 15 years of my own personal growth and development. And the framework, incredibly simple, it comes down to two steps. First step, listen. Second step, step. So listen and then step. So it's really about getting really clear about what it is in life that you're wanting, needing, whatever that next step is, whether it's in your personal life, in your business life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's around health, whether it's just any aspect of your life that you're really wanting to engage with and experience the top level of living that you can. So the framework again is listen and step. Now that's a simple way to look at it, and we know that very, very simple things, once refined, once practiced, once we stay in them, become more refined and more defined, and then they have better action that they can produce in your life. So that listening and stepping filters down and it eventually becomes clarity, courage, and inspired action. And that's the larger framework that I want to teach to you today. So we have listen and step, and as that filters down, as you keep living courageously and taking those steps, it refines down to clarity, courage, and inspired action. What's interesting about such a simple framework is that distance between listening and stepping, many times it's a huge difference. So a lot of times we know what we should be doing, but we're not acting courageously and we're not doing that. And many times I think that what happens there is that there's fear, there's something that's getting in the way of us doing that, something we're afraid of happening or not happening. There's fear about going through the process, there's fear that it maybe won't come true. The problem is if we decide to let fear guide us and we are not listening and not stepping properly, I feel the bigger the gap between those two areas, the more pain that we have in our life. If we know that we're supposed to be doing that thing in relationship, if we know that we're supposed to be taking these steps in business, if we know that our health is more important than we've made it and we're not making those next best decisions that we could be, the distance between listening and stepping, the greater that distance, the greater the pain in our life is the way that I look at it. And so as you continue living courageously, as you continue listening and stepping, and those become more and more congruent, more and more refined, that overlap then becomes that beautiful spot in your life. And so the more listening that we do, that evolves into clarity. The more stepping that we do, that evolves into inspired action. And that bridge is brought together with courageous living. So I want to go a little bit deeper into clarity, courage, and inspired action so that you have some great takeaways that you can leave this video, you can step back into your life. You can take another look at your life and see, where have I been doing this in an amazing way? Where's my life going really well, really smoothly? Where am I passionate? Where am I really fully engaged and life's going in a good way? You're probably going through those steps, whether consciously or unconsciously. And where in your life is there a disconnect? Are you not as passionate? Are you not as engaged? Are you not as happy, fulfilled, passionate? That's what we're wanting to let go of and move into this new paradigm for your life stepping forward today. So as we pull those down, let's take a look at tools for clarity. And so clarity comes to us in so many different ways. And my clarity for taking that trip was showing up as visions. And I think there's a lot of ways those can show up for you. So let's start first thing in the morning. You just wake up, you're just getting out of bed, and maybe you remember some dreams that you had the night before. Or maybe you don't remember the dreams that you had the night before, but you decide to journal about it anyway. And you say, either these are the dreams that I had, or I don't remember the dreams that I had, but if I did remember the dreams that I had, they might have been like this. And then just spend some time journaling. And what we know is true about dreams is a lot of the best inventions, a lot of the most creative, powerful, earth-transforming things that have happened on the planet have come from dreams. We know that Albert Einstein's theory of relativity came from a dream about cows. We know that the organic chemical structure for benzene, those carbon rings, came to that scientist in the form of a dream about snakes getting into those shapes. There's so many different things that have actually shown up to be very, very true and very, very profound and life-transforming on the planet through dreams that I think it's worth us spending a little bit of time there. So journal your dreams. Get a practice of seeing what's there, and even maybe before you fall asleep, asking for those best dreams to come through that really support your personal and your professional life. So dreams, that's step one. Your morning practice is another great place to allow those beautiful pieces of clarity to come through. And maybe that looks like just a cup of tea or your favorite beverage in the morning. Maybe it looks like quiet time or meditation. Maybe it looks like you going for a walk in nature so that you can just allow those things to sift into your conscious mind. I know a lot of people talk about during their shower or their bath and getting ready for the day. That's when a lot of the magic comes through for them. Another thing you can also do is, again, journaling. Maybe not just about your dreams, but having a journaling practice in general will allow those pieces of clarity to make it into your day. Okay? So another thing that you can pay attention to throughout the day, I think clarity shows up in the way of synchronicities. Like, oh, somebody will say, hey, you really should read book A. And then that second person comes in and says, oh my gosh, I have this book you need to read. It's book A. And then when the third person shows up, they're like, man, have I got a book I've got to get to you? And you go, oh, is it book A? And they go, how did you do that? Well, it's through synchronicities. The things that are supposed to come into our life, the things that are trying to like knock, knock, knock on your front door and come into your life, pay attention for those synchronicities. Pay attention for those intuitions. Pay attention for those times where you have a question rolling about in your mind, and on the radio is a song that's playing and a specific lyric answers exactly what you're looking for. I think many times it shows up that way. And what's great about intuition is there's great science around this as well. There's a great book by Dr. Kelly, and I'm forgetting her last name right now, but if you look it up, it's called, oh my gosh, and now I'm forgetting it. It's called Radical Remissions. Thank you for your patience in letting that come through. So the book is called Radical Remissions, and in this, there's a doctor that studied the top ways that radical remissions of cancer will happen in people. And of the top, there were like 50 some things, it's like 50 or 75 things that came through. The top 9 made it into her book, and she has an entire chapter on intuition. And what she found was that people that had intuitions and actually followed through with them were more likely to have quote unquote spontaneous remissions of cancer than anybody else. So I think that intuitions are a thing that are worth paying attention to, and just treat it as a game where you see what's showing up in your life and see how it might actually benefit you. So with those intuitions, with that clarity, I think a big part of allowing those to be powerful is by acknowledging them, by practicing with them. I believe that this is a muscle that you can strengthen, and I believe that the more often you exercise this, the stronger it gets. And if you exercise it, if you practice, if you have fun with it, and then when those come true, like, oh my gosh, I'm having the intuition that I should grab an umbrella, but it's totally sunny outside today. if you listen to that intuition anyway, and later in the day, actually, whether you have got that umbrella or not, if it starts raining, have some gratitude, have some joy, have some fun around that. And I think acknowledging it, exercising it, giving gratitude for it is a great way to strengthen it. And then the last part of that's actually taking action. There's so many things, including on the trip that I've already shared with you, that had I not followed through, had I not gone on that trip, there were just so many things that wouldn't mean anything in my life. But since I took action, I got to realize how strong that gift actually was and that tool. So that's clarity. For courage, one of the things I want to share with you is I think on the planet at this time with social media especially, there's a real issue with getting into patterns of unhealthy comparison. So rather than doing that, I want you to shift it into looking at other people's lives and how they're living them in a way of modeling. Oh my gosh, that person has an amazing family life. What are they doing? I wonder how I could do that as well. They're doing really well in business and they're balanced in family and health. I wonder how they're doing that. I wonder if I could model after them. I think also reaching out to those people and looking for mentorship where they kind of take you under their wing and they help show you the ways, and maybe it's in a specific area of what they're doing, or maybe it's more of a big picture mentor. That's another great thing to do. Another thing you can look at is coaching. There's always somebody out there that's done what you're wanting to do that can help you move faster through those steps, more painlessly through those steps, more efficiently through those steps. And so you can look for those resources to help support you on your path. And lastly, it's never one big step. It's always lots of little steps that need to be taken. And so how can you start approximating that best life that you're really imagining, both in your mind and in your heart? That you're having those intuitions and those pieces of clarity about what's that one step that you could take today? Maybe what's that one step that you could take right after this video ends that you can go, yeah, I've been waiting for a long time for this. It's my time. Let's step into this. So those are hopefully some great little steps and tools that will help you reframe being courageous in your life. And I really believe that if you weren't meant to do it, or if you didn't have the capability or the ability to do it, that you wouldn't have those intuitions, those visions, those thoughts, those ideas. So take those small steps. Take those steps, move forward. And lastly, inspired action. What I want you to keep in mind with this framework is inspired action. The inspired part comes because you're doing what you have clarity about. It's not action about stuff that you don't care about, that you're not passionate about, that don't mean anything to you. It's inspired action in that direction of your goals, your passions, your heart, and your soul's desire. Okay, so inspired action needs to be in the right direction. If you're taking action in the wrong direction or about things that don't matter, that's not inspired. Now, another thing that's important with action is most things in life are not like jumping out of an airplane and parachuting. With that, you have to make like a 1 or 2 second decision and the rest of it's taken care of. Most of life is those small, sustained, consistent steps moving forward. And what I think is important for those is making sure that your body has enough energy to live the life that you're wanting to live. Are you eating well? Are you moving well? Are you getting exercise? Are you breathing? Are you getting oxygen into your body and into your life? Are you creating enough energy to live your top life? How are your thoughts? Do you have practices to make sure that the negative ones are becoming less and less and the positive ones are becoming more and more? Okay? So are you eating the right foods? Are you cutting out sugar? Are you cutting out those things that are going to cause you to crash and not live your top life? And are you upping those things like water, healthy foods, those things that are going to help you continue to move forward in a good way? So clarity, courage, inspired action. These are the tools and the steps and the framework that I wanted to share with you today. I hope this has been of great benefit for you. If you're looking for more support, please feel free to check me out at drmorganoaks.com. And there's a place there where you can, just for your name and email, get a 45-minute piece of teaching that's going to share some great steps around living your top life as well. It's going to really empower you in this direction. And the reality is, had I not gone on my trip, had I not explored what those 4 steps meant to me, my life would be very, very different at this point. There were so many blessings that came out of it. I hope that this helps bring some blessings into your life, and I hope that you have a happy Winspiration Day. This has been a real honor and a gift Thank you so much.